This is week 3. We're finishing up a message series called Work It, as you just saw. If you're new, it's your first time here tonight, we really are glad you're here. We do this 3 times a year. We have 3 message series, and we just talk about some topics that matter to you guys. And so we've been talking about a career because that matters to all of us. As we talked about last week, we spend about a third of our life at our career. So we kind of want to make sure we like it and we're doing well at it. And the first week, Andy Stanley kicked it off and did an incredible job talking about the golden rule of work, work unto others as you would have them work unto you. It was a phenomenal talk. Jeff Henderson last week just helped us figure out how to discover just what we're passionate about, what we're made for, what God's thumbprints are. If you missed either one of those, it'd really be worth your while just to go back and listen to those. Those are on our website. You can find those there. But tonight, we invited Jan Smith to come and to speak to us tonight. We invited her for a couple reasons. One, she's a great person, and she's got a great story, and she's a part of Buckhead Church. But also, she's got a great career, and she's got a lot of great advice to share with us. So we invited her to come, so I'm going to ask her to come on out, and you guys give a hand for Jan Smith. Jan?
How are you?
Good. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Absolutely. Well, Jan, here we are, Buckhead Church, and you are one of the, yes, waving to everybody. This is awesome. So you have a big career. You've owned 5 separate businesses. Mm-hmm. You've coached 5,000 personally, probably artists, 40,000 collectively with all of your employees and stuff over the 27 years. I mean, starting out as your first vocal, you didn't imagine building a career like this.
I had no clue. I had no clue that, I mean, I can't take any credit for Jan Smith Studios or any of the things that I do because I was clueless. I was working on my own artistry and recording in the studio and doing what I wanted to do. And God was like continuing just to build up what I was doing that was helping other people. So it wasn't my idea, but yeah, it was a big surprise to me too.
Yeah. Well, sure, you say you were clueless, but clueless people don't build a nice business and career. So there are some things that you have done along the way that you can probably point to and say, hey, when I started off, maybe I was clueless. Mm-hmm. But here I am, 27 years later, have multiple successful businesses, career, that kind of stuff. So what did you do? Look back and how did you build that? How were you successful? What were some of the things that were in your life or some practices that you put into place?
I think the first thing is recognizing that a business is being built through you. And I had to deal with the numbers of people, so I had to add on other colleagues. I had to train other people because I couldn't see all the people that were coming in. And being able to steward that to other people and giving them opportunities gave me more opportunity. Taking care of business, having a good accountant, understanding what...
Always important.
Yeah. Having 1 or 2 or maybe 3 lawyers. I figure if you have 3 attorneys, you can at least collectively trust one of them. So, kind of how I see it. But anyway, so...
If you're a lawyer in the house, we're glad you're here. Yeah.
In the entertainment business, that's kind of the truth. But anyway, so... but being able to understand business better, I had to learn really quick how to handle all that and to discipline myself because I was being eaten alive by business. I stopped working as a psychologist, and I was already doing both jobs and working 70 hours a week and, seeing way too many people. So
eaten alive by business, meaning you were just tired, you were doing too much.
Oh yeah, I was around the clock, coming and going. So I had to learn how to take care of me and back up a little bit and that's still a hard thing to do, to be honest with you, because I love what I do. And when you're really engaged in it and you love it and you love people, it's even harder to back away sometimes and to realize that you have to replenish who you are.
So when did you start parting ways from the church or your belief system growing up? Because you said, and you wrote this incredible book, called Run the Other Way, and this is a great thing to pick up. But you tell a lot about your story in this book. But there's some hard stuff in there about your story and your life and the direction you took. So when did that start for you? I mean, obviously you mentioned drugs a little bit, but why the separation from what you knew growing up of God? Because there's probably a lot of folks out here that's your story. Grew up, church, knew it, believed it, and then along probably about the same time you did, made some decisions to go this way. So what was that for you?
I don't know. I don't know that I ever stopped believing in God.
Yeah.
I don't think that I ever lost my faith. I think I lost my way a whole lot. And really it wasn't anything gargantuan that happened. It was a gradual process of being involved in what I was doing and thinking that it was all about me. I was motivated towards my own artistry and being an artist and being captivated by that much more so than maybe what I should have been focused on. And boundary issues. In the entertainment industry, there are none. And so if you're struggling...
So you just experience a ton of freedom.
Freedom and boundary issues. Just, freedom is... I think the freedom is having boundaries, to be honest with you. I have more freedom now than I had when I didn't have boundaries. So, and that's a really important thing to say because I was living my life without restraint.
So jumping off that, you can't get away from people who annoy you, and you can't get away from people who do you wrong. And we've probably all got a story at work, somebody, whether it's a boss, a coworker, conflict, those kinds of things in your career where people are just, whether they're out to get you or you just can't seem to like them at all. Talk about just some, I know you've probably had that in your career.
Undesirables?
Yes.
Yeah.
How have you dealt with that? And what do you do? Or, I'm sure you've got stories, but you don't have to share. But give me some, how have you dealt with just really difficult people?
Well, I deal with I deal with the difficulties around people. I deal with substance abuse issues, that run amok in my industry. Not because it's not everywhere, but because there's just a whole lot of availability for, partying and liquor and a whole lot of other things that are around. So people get in trouble. So I deal with a lot of self-medications and a lot of people who are just crazy. There's a lot of crazy people in the world, and they're all in the entertainment industry. So no, you're dealing with the same issues as you are with everyday walk of life, but it's on steroids. You know what I'm saying? Usually it's bigger and it's more blown out and there's more drama and there's a whole lot of other junk going on. So it's just everything's on steroids, and kind of looking at somebody and going, yo, settle down. Here's how we're going to do this. Shut up. And because
shut up. Just say that next time you're at the office and someone's bothering you.
Oh, no, I didn't mean to say that at your office, but No, dealing with things head on. A wise man once told me the truth works. And it took me a minute to get around in my own life to even being able to tell the truth to myself, looking at myself in the mirror and go, okay, this is the truth. But really looking at other people and dealing in the truth, you don't have to deal with the other debris. And people are scared of that, quite frankly, which is an amazing thing, but because apparently we don't live in the truth all the time, but telling the truth works, and it'll clear a room quicker than anything else you know.
Yeah, I believe that. So what's next for you? You've been doing this a long time. Like, what's your 5-year plan?
My 5-year plan?
Yeah, what's next? What do you want to do?
If I won the lottery today, I'd be at my studio tomorrow.
That's good.
And the reason why is because I love what I do, and as long as, people talk about retiring. I'll retire when they, shovel dirt on me. I don't think about retiring because I love what I do, and I get paid for being who I am, so I don't really know any greater luxury than that.
That's good.
Yeah. So being in love with what you do is a really important thing, and I'm just grateful that I get to go and help other people and to provide opportunities for other people to do the same thing. Is really cool.
Well, how do you, as a follower of Jesus in the workplace, working with all the people that you've talked about in your career, I would say that a lot of us in the room are Christians or spiritual, have a faith of something. I would say the majority of us, it's not everybody. And I think when you start talking about intersecting your faith at the workplace, how that works, sometimes that can feel weird. How do you do that? How do you share Jesus in the office? And are you playing Christian music there, or handing out tracts, or
No.
So how do you intersect your faith in your career? Like, what do you feel like is your responsibility when you have clients in? What
Talking to people, shooting straight from the hip. And I don't really make any bones about my belief in God, but I also don't beat people over the head with Bibles. I think that you meet people where they are, And the people that come in for services and come to see me are coming from all different walks of life, from all different belief systems. And for me to just be able to be salt and light in what I do with them, it's like I have a lot of my young men come in, young men and young women, they'll have profanity in songs, and they'll avoid doing that in front of me because they respect me. And I'll ask them about that. It's like, well, why would you not say that in front of me, but you'll say it in front of thousands and millions of other people? And they look at me like, oh, well, I don't know. So anytime I can help people to think about something the same way that I had to think about things and draw their attention to the obvious, that if that makes a change for the better in them, then I've done what I'm supposed to do. And it's not up to me to heal everybody or to bring everybody to Christ or to help them believe what I believe, but to plant that seed and then let God do the rest of the work, and to trust God to do that. And if something comes back around, I'm supposed to do more, then that's what I do. But just to be able to be bold in speaking to people and saying what I believe, and then the other part of that is my example. When I said that about the woman in Stockbridge, and that's happened more than I care to tell you about too. We are being watched, and so for me it was just like, okay, there are certain things that are just not important in my life, and how I influence other people. I mean, if you open up my closet, the skeletons will come like falling out on the floor. So for me it was just like, okay, I wrote a book about mine, some of them, and people can read all about that. But the bottom line was, it was like, I need to be responsible and be a better steward. So at this point, it's just being a good steward of whoever God brings in my office and whatever I'm supposed to do with them right there in that moment. And that's it. And I leave it alone and let God do the rest.
I think you said something that was so helpful, and that was just in the example of whether that was profanity or whatever. It seems like you're really paying attention to people and asking them questions and looking into, you're not looking for an agenda, but you're just looking at somebody as a person and just asking them some great questions about who they are. And that just seems like, in my experience, that's one of the best ways to have influence with people, is you just show you care about them by just asking them questions.
But you know what, when I said earlier about, I don't think I ever stopped believing in God, God put a big heart in me. And at the bottom line of all of that was, I love people. I love people, and I do care about them. And I think that people are looking for authenticity, and they need us to love them. And if Christ didn't say to us, you're supposed to be the church, not go to church, okay, we're supposed to go to church too, but be the church. And loving other people and meeting them where they are, to me, is the church. That's what the church did for me. That's what my small group did for me. That's what my small core group of friends did for me. That's what this church continues to do for me. And that's what I want to do for other people.
I think every one of us, obviously we've said multiple times, we don't have the platform that you do. But all of us can go to work tomorrow with an amazing amount of influence, just by looking at the people that we're around, asking them questions, caring about them. I mean, to me, maybe you get annoyed if people ask you questions about your life. You're like, don't talk to me, I'm super private. But the majority of people that you like, and they ask you questions about who you are and what makes you tick and where are you from and why, you love it when people show interest and care about you. If you want to know a great way just to begin to leverage your faith and your influence at work, see people, be the church, start asking questions. I think that's incredible. And I love the other thing you said of just being an example. Yeah.
I think one of a great story about that, about people needing to, they need to be needed. People need to be recognized. They want you to know them, and going to Grammys and things like that, going to meetings and parties at record companies and all. I'll remember people's names, and 2 years later walk into a room with them somewhere and shake their hand, and I'll say, hey Rodney, how you doing? And they don't remember me. They don't know who I am, but I know who they are. And they're kind of like, oh. So all of a sudden it becomes important that you remembered who they were. And at the core of all that, we just really want people to know who we are.
Yeah.
We really do. And I think that if you can just take that special interest in the people around you, you never know what somebody else is dealing with. And when you take that special interest, it opens other doors, it opens opportunity. And I guess the only other thing I'd want to say is that I never planned on being Jan Smith or Mama Jan or any of that stuff. It was really just a progression of walking through opportunity doors that were opened, and a lot of them got closed. I mean, I've had a whole lot of doors closed. So for me, it was just about continuing to be flexible and move through those doors of opportunity so that there was more that I could build off of to where I could get here. So I didn't plan on this.
Yeah. Well, I think you put a good bow on it. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much.
Was really insightful and helpful.
My pleasure.
You guys give Jan a big hand.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was really good.